Golly, that's good.
I cracked myself up. I still haven't found my first Blantons. That's different. I really like that.
They're like together, like peas and carrots.
That's funny. Sometimes accidents are good things. Peychauds or Pechaud's or Pechaud. This is not what I expected. Hello. How are you? It's Thursday and it's beautiful bourbon time and Bourbcast time and I'm probably a little bit overly excited for this because it's been dry January and I didn't do a good job following dry January until last week. So Paul and I finished the Balboa Rye Bourbcast, and that was the last drop that I've had until tonight. So it was a long week. So Tuesday I kind of wanted something. Last night I really kind of wanted something, but tonight I'm ready. But before we get started, I have got to do a little bit of flexing. Last Friday, so this is the day after I declared that I was going to go and I was going to celebrate dry January. So last Friday, this comes into my possession. A whole bunch of these little things. I mean, a whole bunch. And you're not going to believe what's in them. So I was at an event and somebody brought me this cute little white box. And they have a ton, there's a little note here that was attached, and they have a ton of amazing pours in here. Paul's with me and Quinn, and you guys are going to get blown away. I'm telling you, I'm blown away. I'm just knowing what's in this collection. Oh my, when am I going to do this? Because I've got this stuff scheduled. And I'm going to try to continue the dry January idea throughout the next, I don't know, however many months, because in the week that I did dry January, I lost almost 2 pounds. Because you know, when you drink, you also have to snack. So I was having, however many drinks, and then I'd snack on top of that. I was, putting weight on. So lost a little bit of weight, and I mean, it's been good. It's been good being dry for a week, but this collection. All right, so we're going to start off with number one. Okay, so I'm just going to go through them. This is a sample of Old Fitzgerald 11 year. Yeah. I'm just going to sniff it. Ooh, the caramels on that were really nice. All right, so that's that one. This one is Elmer T. Lee, and I think I might have 2 of these. Ooh, that one's got more of a rye spice to it. That's kind of nice. Then this one is the Woodford Masters Collection. This is Sonoma Triple Finish. So I've got some in the Masters Collection. I've never opened them. Oh. All right, then number 4 that I have here. This is the Weller 12 year. I've had the Weller 12 year. I love the Weller 12 year. Oh, yes. Okay, so number 5, this is the Willet 8 year. I don't think I've had the Willet 8 year. And I've got another Willet 2 that came with a label on it. And I'm not sure what's in it. It might just be the family rye, but it says it's 115 proof. So that might just be the family rye. All right, moving on. Number 6. This is the Four Roses. This is the 135th anniversary small batch bottle that came out. So I've got that one. Let's see. So number 7. This one is Whistle Pig, the Boss Hog Samurai Scientist. I tried a Whistle Pig once. It was a 10 year. I didn't love it. That's got a really great nose to it, though, so maybe I'll like that one. I've ever since I had that 10 year, I just didn't go back to Whistle Pig, and I probably should have. It's not fair to the product to not try anything else. But, I mean, these are expensive bottles, too, so some of them. This is number 8. So the 8 is the Sky Ranch Motel, which I've never even heard of. And this one was given to me. Ooh, that's got a really nice bouquet to it. Now, okay, so there were 2 number 8s. So this is either the Sky Ranch Motel or the Heaven's Door 18 year. So I think it's the Sky Ranch Motel. All right, so that means the Heaven's Door 18 year is another one of these now this one's dark. This is number 9. This is the Angel's Envy Cask Strength. And this is the one that Tishner brought a couple of weeks ago and surprised me with. That was a blind that he gave me. And I said Angel's Envy, but I said it's not Angel's Envy, and it was. So, but this is the Cask Strength Angel's Envy from the port barrels. Moving into number 10. This is the Horse Soldier 15 year. This is the 20th anniversary bottle of 9/11 that they did for Horse Soldier. And I've heard nothing but excellent things about this one. So I'm looking forward to trying that one. Just a few more here. Okay, so number 11. This is William LaRue Weller. I don't think I've ever had WLW. So this one I will slowly sip and savor. Number 12. This is the one that's going to be very, very difficult for me to try. This is the Eagle Rare 17 year. I love Eagle Rare. It's my favorite pour. It's my favorite normal pour. My favorite pour is George T. Stagg. But right next to that is Eagle Rare, and this is the 17 year. So I am dying to try this. Number 13, this is Wild Turkey Revival. This is one that a friend of mine actually really loves. She tried it just recently. She said it was like one of the best things out there. So there's that. Trent's watching. Hey, Trent. And last but not least, I've got another Elmer T. Lee. I think that's what this is. It looks a little cloudy in there. So that could be the Heaven's Door 18. And last but not least, the last one I've got here is one that actually Paul left me last week. This is Mellow Corn, but it's craft aged. So, you know, Paul, he gets into doing barrels. He has his own barrels that he does, and his Wild Turkey 101 was outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. And this is Mellow Corn, which I do like Mellow Corn. This is craft aged. So sometime in the next year, I got to find time to get to these. And I've got Shala's watching. Hey, how are you? Hey, Trent. Glad you're here. So these are just things I've got to get to despite everything else that I've already got scheduled, things that I want to do, and going out on the town. I've got a couple different bars that have said, yeah, come on out. We'll do it, you know, when we have the opportunity, and we'll tape and then run them back, not live, but we'll run them back. I don't know. We'll figure it out. So anyhow, that's I wanted to first of all show you what was given to me, and secondly, just give thanks for it. I am grateful for these. I cannot wait to dig in and try them out. I'm just absolutely very grateful to have gotten those. So thank you for the person who was kind enough to give those to me. Okay. I don't have Paul here to get it started for me. He got the Balboa rye started for me last week. This is the Rare Breed Rye. They first came out with the Rare Breed Rye in 2020. Surprising it took so long to do it. But what they did with the Rare Breed Rye is the same thing they do with the bourbon, is they have a mash bill that they follow for everything rye in Wild Turkey. So if you get the Wild Turkey 101 rye, which I really enjoyed a lot, I didn't even bring a glass over here. Can you believe that? How am I supposed to pour it without a glass? Jeez Louise. All right. So anyhow, so it's the same mash bill for everything they do that's rye. That would be the Russell's rye, the Wild Turkey 101 rye. There's a Wild Turkey 81 rye, or 80, something like that. So Russell's Reserve 6-year, single barrel, Wild Turkey 101, and 80. So those are the ones that go underneath it. The difference is they haven't really, from what I read, the difference is that with the Wild Turkey bourbon mash bill, they've been able to do different things with it, from, you know, the rick house to the proofing to everything else to give it, and the Long Branch. all that stuff has been spread out so you can have a different Wild Turkey product and know that it's different. What I'm reading is that the mash bill doesn't differentiate this much from other things in the family, which could be great because, again, I like the Wild Turkey 101 rye. But it's the proof that's going to divide these out. Quinn says, nice collection. I can't read it all. I got to hit see more. However, I would take Rare Breed over all of those with the exception of William LaRue Weller, Four Roses 135th anniversary, and the Horse Soldier. Just friggin' love Rare Breed. And Greg is watching. Hey, Greg. Yeah, I like Rare Breed too. I have, when I first tried it, I was like, ha 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 ha. But as time has gone on, I've really, really found myself enjoying this pour a lot. I think where people mistakenly recommend Rare Breed is to new drinkers. But I say the same thing about 101. When you're a new drinker, you don't start people with a high proof. You just don't. You got to decide first if they even like it. Because if they're a beer drinker or a wine drinker or a White Claw drinker or something like that, they're not going to love that heat, that burn on bourbon. And it's going to be tough to get them past that. So I like to start at 80, and I might even water that down a little bit before I start getting them into stuff. So this is definitely not something to start somebody with. But let's get into this a little bit. The Rare Breed Rye, it's a Wild Turkey product, of course. It is ongoing. It's 112.2 proof. Now that sounds high, but that is, if you're looking at the different cask strength ryes that are out on the market, Knob Creek, some of the other ones, this is actually lower in proof than a lot of them that are out there, even at 112.2. Age statement is not on the bottle, so I'm going to guess 4 years. It does have a low rye mash bill. This may surprise some of you, but this is a 51% rye, 37% corn. There's that nice sweetness. And of course, the fruit notes coming out on the malted barley, that's 12%. So 51 rye, 37 corn, 12% malted barley. This has pretty much stayed the course as far as price goes since it was first introduced in 2020. It was about $59.99 in 2020. It's still $59.99 now, which is $10 more than the bourbon, by the way. Let's see. It's a single mash bill. We already talked about that. Barrel proof. Another one that they had out, I've never seen it. Cornerstone Rye is another non-chill filtered brand. This is non-chill filtered, along with the Russell's Reserve Single Barrel Rye, also non-chill filtered. So that could be something else I'm really going to enjoy about this. All right, Tom's watching. Hey, Tom, how are you? So let's get into it. Hey. All right, so I have heard that even at 112.2, which is a lower proof than a lot of the ryes out there that are barrel strength, this one presents itself as hotter. So we're going to find out here shortly. Again, I haven't had anything to drink in a week. So this might just knock me on my butt. You see, I didn't give myself as big a pour as I did last week with the Balboa, right? You notice that. And that was slightly lower proof, too. Not a lot lower, but it was lower. All right, Landon's watching. Hey, sir. All right. Oh. Sweetness on the nose. All right, Jackie Gleason. How sweet it is. That's what it's reminding me of. It's just sweet. Oh, those rye notes are definitely, for only 51% rye, they're saying hello. Cinnamon's a sweet cinnamon, like almost like not quite as sweet as a cinnamon roll, but approaching it. Not cinnamon candy. Definite distinction. But this is a very sweet note. That's got to be that high corn, 37% corn. All right. The fruit notes are dissipating somewhat. That's 12% malted barley, but they're definitely still there. There's a licorice note to it. Got to really look for that one. The more I notice it, the more present it is, the licorice note. It's more like it's not like a black licorice, it's more like a red. It's kind of a sweet licorice. Love rare breed. I do too. I do too. And if it's going to taste anything like a high proof Wild Turkey 101 rye, I'm going to love this. I can barely hear you. My volume is maxed. Well, I played with the volume a little bit because I had some work to do, so I'll just bring it up a little bit. Tell me if that's any better. Testing, testing. And you've always got issues with volume though, dude. But it could be me. It could be me. I don't know. Like I said, I played with the volume a little bit, so all right. I think I'm plugged into the right input. Yeah, I am. All right. Here we go. Ooh. I haven't had anything to drink in a week. And so when I first started to taste this, I found myself holding it off of my tongue. And I shouldn't have. And I knew I shouldn't have, so I changed that quite quickly. And I put it down on my tongue, and the bloom was very present. It sat there kind of, and then it spread out, and it just sat there again. It didn't go to other parts of my palate. It just kind of sat there. So I have somebody texting me because, as you know, I had a dog that I had to put down in July. I had another dog I had to put down a few weeks ago. And somebody posted that they have like a half lab, half some sort of doodle or something or other on the internet. And I said, I said, that's not fair. I said I was going to wait a year to get a dog. And now she's texting me all these photos of this dog. Now, I'm not going to look, but I want to. But I'm not going to get it. I'm not going to get a dog. I don't think I'm going to get a dog. I want to have a year of freedom, just to see what it's like not to have poop in my yard, you know? All right. Bill's watching. Hey. It is better, so you are the problem. Okay, I was the problem. I'm glad I could fix it for you. Problem child. All right. Well, let's get back into this. This is the Rare Breed Rye. I found this one, actually. I didn't even know they made this stuff. And I was coming home from Lexington, Kentucky. And I decided, I'm going to stop at this Florence Costco because everybody's talking about the Florence Costco. That's the one where you have the big water tower and it says Florence y'all or Flo y'all or I think it's Florence y'all. So I stopped at that Costco. By the way, if you're headed north on I-75, getting to that Costco sucks. The traffic pattern is stupid. If the cars, especially at rush hour, it's stupid. But anyhow, so I got there and I found the Angel's Envy Rye and I found this Rare Breed Rye and the prices on them were really, really good. Lower actually than they are in Ohio at $60. So I picked up a couple of these, picked up a couple of the Angel's Envy Rye. And so it's been a number of years since I picked these up and it's time to try them. So here we go. All right, so we got the bloom out of the way. Let's get on into it. That is nice. Okay, so somebody was asking me on YouTube. You can find us on YouTube at Beautiful Bourbon. Somebody was asking me on YouTube about the slurping thing that I do. I didn't do it that time. But it's an old wine trick. So when you open up a bottle of bourbon, you open up a bottle of wine, you open up a bottle of rye, it hasn't seen oxygen. It hasn't been aerated. So sometimes, particularly with a fresh crack, whether it's any of those things, not beer. Beer doesn't count. But you aerate it on your tongue to allow it to open up. And that's, there are aerators that you can get for wine. And some people do that. But also people will pour a glass of wine and they'll spin it around for a little while, get it to open up a little bit, and then they may still slurp it. And that's kind of something, when I was drinking wine more, that's something I started doing then because I really wanted to get that aerated and get it opened up on my palate, get those flavors spread out on my palate. So I do that now with my whiskey as well. So that's why I slurp it sometimes. The flavors on this, it's interesting. I got some really intense flavors on the Wild Turkey 101, which is the same mash bill, that rye. This one, the proof is more intense. The flavors are there, but they're not as big on my palate as the Wild Turkey 101 is. And that's really actually strange for me. I'm surprised by that. Maybe the heat is knocking down the flavor of it. I don't know what it is, but we're going to do another one here. Okay, so what I'm getting there is a lot of oak. I didn't get that much oak on the Wild Turkey 101. Same mash bill. Of the two, I think I like the Wild Turkey flavor better. But this has a great presence on the palate. Don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking it. Let's give myself a little bit more here. I'm trying not to go too crazy because I haven't had anything in a week and I don't want to end up slurring by the time I'm done with this. Not that it hasn't happened before. I think I was slurring last week with Paul. But I took some pretty big pours last week. And that Balboa rye was incredible. Oh my gosh. Oh, New Riff Balboa rye. My golly, was that good. So that's Paul's favorite, and I understand why. It's definitely very, very good. Will it be a top pour of the year? I don't know. We'll find out. Find out Christmas this year. All right. We are still looking for bars. Trent was helpful. He hooked me up with a bar. We still haven't got a date yet, but thank you, Trent, for that. Somebody helped me hook up another one as well. So we're looking to travel. We're looking to get out of here. We don't have to even stay in Ohio. I'm looking for great bartenders. I'm looking for stars that can put together a great drink with a pour of something that I've never had before. So that ideally what would happen is we go to this bar and they give me a pour of something I haven't had, and we could go over that in advance. They tell me a little bit about it. They take care of the research for me and all that stuff. And they don't even tell me what it is till I get there, and then we try it. And then after we've done that, they build me a fantastic drink, right? Again, I'm looking for star bartenders, people who want to be stars. So just bear that in mind. If you know somebody that owns a bar and there's a star bartender and you want to get them involved and you want to see if they want to have a Bourbcast at their location, I'm all in. Let's do it. Let's get her done. I think it'll be a lot of fun. And it's time to take this show on the road, so to speak. So let's get on out there and get her done. All right. Michael, hey, Coachella Valley Mike is checking in. Hello, sir. I'm glad you're with us. This is the Rare Breed Rye. I'm going to give it another flavor, another taste here, and then we're going to put it on water. You kind of got to do that when you first bring it in. I almost made a mess. So I'm actually getting a little bit of apple. Licorice is still there. Caramel, pepper. Little bit of tobacco way back in the back on the finish. This is it's a nice pour. It's got a lot going on. The cask strength version of this is imparting different flavors. For me, the Wild Turkey 101 was fruitier. It was sweeter. This was sweet on the nose, but on the palate, it's not as sweet. It's more earthy. Definitely a little more oaky. And it sets itself apart. You look at these different Wild Turkey products and you wonder, well, it's the same mash bill. Why is it different? Why is Russell's different? The 10-year, the this and the single barrel, and because they're different. They find different ways to age them and store them and barrel them and all these different things and filter them, cold chill filtered and carbon filtered and all those different things. And this is a barrel proof version of that rye mash bill. And it's a low rye. It's 51% rye, 37% corn, and 12% malted barley. it's not going to be similar to some of those other low rye mash bills like Rittenhouse and Pikesville, which is actually higher proof than this one. That needs to be on my bourbon bingo as my burping. I think Paul pointed that out last week. But the Elijah Craig rye, the Rittenhouse, the Pikesville, that's all one mash bill. Sazerac, again, low rye, but it's 51% rye. This should not be confused with any of those. This is definitely the wild turkey side of that thing. 51% rye. It's got nice flavors to it. All right. Okay. Mount Vernon just had, Mount Vernon just had a pizza cottage open and they have a bourbon bar. Well, good. It's about time Mount Vernon, Ohio came together with that. Had a nice bourbon bar. They're starting to spread out more and more, and that's great because even though so many of us really got started on bourbon and rye and whiskey and things like that during the COVID years, this started off as my COVID hobby. I did 2 Bourbcasts in March, 4 or 5 in April, and then I collected for a few months, and then finally got back to it just after Christmas of 2020, and then I've been steady on the Bourbcast every week, not always on the same day, but every week since Christmas of 2020. So this is actually Bourbcast 196. Can you believe that? 196. I still don't know what I'm doing. I still don't know where this is going, but I'm having fun. And you're here with me, so you're having fun, and that means everything in the world, really. And we had sunshine today, and that didn't suck. Lester's with us. Hey, Lester. How are you, sir? I mean, you're seeing these bourbon bars pop up everywhere, and that's I guess why I brought up wanting to go on the road, because if Mount Vernon has a bourbon bar, let's call some attention to it, right? Help me get in there. Marysville's got one. Of course, Toledo and Columbus and Findlay, and I mean, they're everywhere. There's bars everywhere. But the key of it is do they know what they're doing, right? Do you have bartenders who know the product, are excited about the product, and can whip up a great drink with that product? That's going to be super important. And let me also say this. It doesn't have to be bourbon, right? Let's say I go into a bar and they want to do something with scotch. Scotch is a whiskey. I'm all good. Hook me up. I like scotch. So I'd be all right. I'm just saying, get me out there. If you know somebody that's got a bar and a great bartender, hook me up. All right. Oh, Kim is watching. How are you, Kim? Welcome to the show. All right. So this is with a little bit of water on it. This is going to be, again, I said this 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. It's either going to make it hotter or it's going to proof it down. So we'll see. It proofed it down. That was that little slurp I was talking about that helps aerate it. I mean, you put water on it, you don't have to do that. But I wanted to show that aeration once again. Yeah, so this definitely got a little bit sweeter, a little bit fruitier with water on it. The oak is still there, but it's a little bit more sedate than it was. Actually getting some honey on it now. I still have some apple, but it's kind of with the honey, right? It's evening itself out a little bit. Joanna's with us. How are you, Joanna? I hope all is well. So we got a contest or a comment last week. It was actually on Friday. I'm starting to slur. that was fast. So Thursday, Paul and I do the Bourbcast. Friday, I get told that from a woman who watched the Bourbcast that hubby's like, "Why are you watching that again? Who's that guy? What are you doing?" It's like, you have nothing to fear. Paul's married, and I'm married to my bourbon. It's all good. But it's funny. So I messaged that young lady tonight, and I told her, I said, get your husband and the two of you watch the Bourbcast together so he can feel a little less threatened by this. I know it wasn't me. It was Paul they were looking at. I get it. You know, he's the window dressing. You know, I'm the drapes. I understand. Right, Joanna? Am I right? Right? Okay. All right. So, again, a little water on this one. Yeah. Really nice mashup. Proofing it down brings it closer to the flavors I got out of 101, Wild Turkey 101 rye. Just really, really lots of flavor. It opened up nicely. Little apple, little honey, cinnamon for sure. Those rye spices, it's a low rye. It's 51% rye. But it's there a little bit. It's not spicy as much as it is sweet, especially on some water. Okay. I can feel myself slurring. It's been a week since I've had a drink, so woohoo! I kind of knew this was coming. All right. Time for a gorgeous ice sphere. So my daughter's boyfriend was over tonight. We had dinner together. Nice guy. And I was explaining to him the gorgeous ice sphere. Which, by the way, if you're doing the game, that's a shot. Go ahead. So I showed him this. And I showed him how it can be clear and beautiful. And he said, dude, that's sick. I don't think I want to call it my clear, sick ice sphere. I'm going to keep calling it my gorgeous ice sphere because that's what I do. But to have this 20-something guy, who's a very nice guy. He's a nice guy. The first of the people that my daughter has dated that I've approved of so far. I'm hoping he doesn't disappoint me. But anyway, he's respectful and he's fun and he likes coming over and I like having him here, so it's all good. But he called it sick. Okay. Other things have been sick, so that's sick. I remember when I was a kid, we'd call things bad. Oh, that's so bad. I guess it's, the new generation's version of bad. All right, so will this hold up on ice? Let's find out. Joanna says, I am right. So he's the window dressing and I'm the drapes. I'm glad we are on the same page, Joanna. Thank you very much. Kim says, what's up, KC? Hey, it's Thursday night. This is what we do. So I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're watching. Thank you. You could be doing anything else, but you're here with me, and I appreciate it. Corey is watching. Hey, Corey, how are you, sir? Glad you're along for the ride. Rare breed rye. So today, just to get this out of the way, the photography on this was actually kind of fun, and it's the first time I've been out with the actual camera for a while. Burping, excuse me. And I took, 20 different photos. Excuse me. I took 20 different photos of the rare breed rye in different scenarios, and there were a couple of them I really liked, and some of them that I thought I would like and didn't like. But in the end of the day, this one, I like the reflection in the water. I like that log that fell just over top of it. Worked out really, really nicely. I had some in some hollow logs, and they looked decent, but that was my favorite of all of them, or one of the two favorites. So it was fun to get out with an actual camera, and it was fun to do it while the sun was shining. Oh, so nice. Last week I did a shot of the Balboa rye. New Riff saw it and enjoyed the photo. Now they haven't asked to use it, but it was nice of them to acknowledge that they enjoyed the photo, so that was nice. All right, so rare breed rye on a gorgeous, sick ice sphere. Okay, I was all set to say don't do that. But that actually held up nicely. I need to do a Paul Smith finger stir. Really get it cold. Okay. Okay, so I like using ryes in cocktails, particularly the old-fashioned, the Sazerac, the Manhattan, you know, those typical everyday drinks. I prefer the ryes in those, and I prefer a high rye. However, I do like the Bourbon-esque ryes, which are the low ryes, the Rittenhouses and the Pikesville. And I haven't done Elijah Craig, but I've done Rittenhouse. And I've done some other ryes. Rye was typically what you used in a cocktail eons ago. Eons ago. So I tend to use that, and but this one I think would be fantastic in a cocktail. I like the fact that it's a higher proof. I like the fact that the flavors stay with it on ice. So this will cut through whatever it is you want to do cocktail-wise. And leave you with enough of that rye expression that you don't lose it in all the other ingredients. So you might consider trying this with one of your favorite cocktails. Now, I did the Old Overholt 114 in a Manhattan for a friend of mine, and he took a sip of it and went, whew. He's obviously used to lower proof things, unless he's prepared for it, which he evidently was not. So this in a Manhattan for him, maybe not. You got to find out what the tolerances are. But if you like that rye presence in your cocktails, this might be right up your alley. So, all right. Another note about what we're going to be doing coming up in the future. I got new internet. I'm fiber speed now, so I should have no issues, and I've got it right over there. So we're going to be able to do Bourbcasts out on the patio this year with no lag, no problems, no nothing like that. So I'm very excited about that. You're going to see some different things this year, going out to bars, going outside, doing different things, trying different pours. It's going to be a great year for the Bourbcast. I thank you for being along for us. Paul says the finger stir is one to add to your bingo game. It is. You're right. The finger stir has to be added to the bingo game. For sure. Okay, so next week we're going to start the first of our battles. So it's February. It's Black History Month. But it's also a month for lovers. So for those of you and like myself, who find themselves at odds with Cupid, we're going to take a different tilt for Valentine's Day with, I guess you could call it the labor of love, the battle of love, right? I love whiskey, and we're going to have the fights. So we're going to start next week with our first fight, and it's going to be what I promised you last year, 7 months ago. Almost, well, seven and a half. And that is the battle between E.H. Taylor and Smoke Wagon Small Batch. That's coming up next week. We're finally going to put the two back to back. It's going to be a blind taste. It's going to be a blind test. I'm going to have somebody help me pour it. My daughter's old enough. Her boyfriend's old enough. Somebody's going to pour it for me. And I'm going to do a blind taste to see which one I like better between the E.H. Taylor Small Batch, bottled and bond, 100 proof, or the Smoke Wagon Small Batch, which I'm hearing is beating E.H. Taylor in taste tests. We're going to find that out next week. Again, I really appreciate you being here. You could be anywhere else, and you're here with me. And next week is going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. And we will see you then. You can find us on YouTube at Beautiful Bourbon. Of course, you can certainly share what you're seeing here with other people. I would appreciate that. And, of course, Instagram and the actual website. That's a lost cause. I tried. All right, gang. You have a fantastic what's left of your week, and I have to really enjoy today because tomorrow we start going dry again for the next week. I don't want to. Make sure I'm not missing anything. Spencer's watching. Hey, Spencer. You're coming in at the end, but that's okay. You can catch it again on Memorex, and you can see all these wonderful little samples I've got here that were given to me, and I am beside myself with gratitude about these samples. I can't wait to dig into these. I got to figure out when I'm going to do them because I can't do them without you. But I got my schedule, so we'll get to them. Again, thank you so much, and we will see you next Thursday right here on Beautiful Bourbon.